Good morning, my Mudfossil friends. I just want to relate to you some of the absolutely fabulous discoveries that people following the Mudfossils, and specifically people engaged in Mudfossil University research, are finding absolutely fabulous things everywhere in the world. Now, I'm going to give you just a 24-hour outlook of what we just discovered in the last 24 hours. Now, this just came in from Wild Bill 419. Bill Wise, he's a long-haul truck driver, and he comes up with this. Now, he sends me this morning, and he said, "What do you think?" Now, listen.
Okay, there we go. Driving along, northern New Mexico.
Northern New Mexico.
See these things sticking out of the hillside, and I thought it was petrified wood sticking out, but it's something else.
Now, you see right there? If you understand mudfossil bones, bones attach to other bones with ligaments, and the ligaments separate as the fascia goes away, and you can see these separations. It almost looks like they're cut, but it's not. It's where the ligament attachment would be. They're separate bones, and they're wrapped with separate fabrics. Each one of them has its own membrane. That's why you find them in their own chunks, because they're wrapped in membranes, and as they deteriorate, the ligaments go away, but the rest does not.
It's really steep.
Watch this. This is
And
unbelievable.
look at that.
Look at
All
this.
the way down. I don't know.
It goes all the way down. Now, I think it's a gigantic snake.
It's ribs
What
of
do you
a
see?
giant whale, or
Giant snake,
I
brother.
just don't know.
And you can see the vein and arteries in them so clear.
But they're definitely shaped. Coming out of the hill.
Look at this, all the way down.
They're eroding different than everything else. There's one right there close. I don't know if it's going to show.
Now, this particular look has structure to it. These little fibers, little mineral-looking inclusions in here. That is what gives structure to flesh and to bones. Actually, the bones don't show as bones. This is probably a bone. They don't show as bones. They show as mineralized globs like this, because they separate.
Go up, looks dark. There's
Right, that's no question. That's a bone.
piece right there.
Or I mean, it even could be a flipper. Like I think he said, it might be a flipper, and he might be right there too. But it's certainly some solid piece. Now you see how they look cut right there. These are abrupt transitions. They happen between certain areas.
And fins. There's ribs of a whale. Look at all those sticking out.
Look at that all the way down. It
But
goes
it's
on and
turned
on and
into
on.
like this really fine, crumbly stuff. I don't know if it's.
By the way, skin, the most outward layer of skin, has that same sand. It's literally sand, because it's silicon, and it's very quartz crystal-y sort of stuff, silicon dioxides, and that's what gives you strength against the environment for your own grip skin and everything else.
Bone. And Roger from Mudfossil University to weigh in on that.
Snake, brother.
But it is definitely strange, and you can see those white veins coming through there. It's like sandstone, but those shapes are definitely.
See that? Look at this. They all have, blood going in and back. You have to feed it, and they have to come back to get
Distinctly different than the rest of the sandstone sticking out. And look at that.
You see it? The two little
See,
dots.
I thought it was like petrified wood sticking out, but it's not. It's something else. Look at that. Look at that.
You see all
It's like cut off straight.
The other thing I want to mention is you see these little stripes in a lot of these things. You think, oh, how that's like sedimentary. Not. We are built in like layer cakes. I'm telling you, it's hard to believe, and it's hard for me to understand why it's not layers like this. Sometimes there's layers like this. Sometimes I still don't have the full answers for these kind of things. That's why it's just so much to study.
They kept the shape. Here's one sticking out. Look at that sticking out. What the heck?
I know. I'm with you, brother.
What does that? Just thought that was interesting.
And that's the cavity of look at this thing. Now, at one end or the other, there's going to be a tail and a head somewhere. It looks like it ran all the way down here, and probably some of this stuff fell off, and of course they took it out of here. And then it either went all the way down here and ended, or it cut back into the hill. I don't know. But look at this.
Might not hear so well because of the wind, but they're all in a row right there. We'll get a different angle.
It almost looks like that's the tip of the tail down there, and then it came up to a huge thing at the other end. But that, I'm telling you, as far as I'm concerned,
dirt above and whatever sloughed off there, those things are definitely have a shape sticking out of that hillside.
I agree with you 100%, my friend.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so there's Bill. Now, just before that, I get this from Dan Franco's. And if you got your socks on, you might as well take them off right now, because they're gonna blow your socks right off of your feet. He's out somewhere in the middle of the woods. He finds these things. He says there's literally got to be 100 of them or more. And to me, I'm seeing biology here, and I am seeing things that just blow my mind. This is a sphinx. There's paws. These things have wings. I see all the blood signatures, and they're not something that I know that's currently been studied. Let me show you a little more. All right, before I go any further, I want to make sure that you understand. I don't know if I mentioned this already. Dan said that there's 100 or more. He said hundreds of these statues. Now, they're not statues, I don't think. I see evidence that they were alive, and nobody carved these. That's my thinking at this moment. Now, Dan only had a few minutes there before it got dark, so we didn't get a lot of information yet. But he's going to be going back. It may even be today. I don't know. Today is the 16th of June, 2019. Now, all right, before you continue to laugh, this is Ovid, Book 5, 200 to 249, Phineas is turned to stone. Now, the original texts talk about Perseus and cutting off Medusa's head and using it as a weapon, and ends up being implanted into Athena's shield and so forth. And anybody that sees it turns to stone. So, anytime he would try to turn a bunch of the enemies to stone, he would tell everybody to look the other way, and bang, he would hit these people with it. And they would just be stoned instantly. Now, here's what it says here. They all deserve the punishment they suffered, except one of Perseus's warriors. While he was fighting on his side, Acontius saw the Gorgon's head and took the shape of hardened stone. Now, this was the enemy, or Acontius. Astyages, which is Perseus's buddy, struck him with his long sword, thinking he was still alive, and the blade gave a high-pitched ringing noise, obviously, because the guy was already turned to marble within the swing of a sword. While Astyages stood there amazed, the same power transformed him, and he remained there with a wondering look on his marble face. It would take a long time to tell the names of the middle ranks of men. 200 bodies survived the fight. 200 bodies turned to stone at the side of the Gorgon's head. Now, I don't know what kind of bodies these were. This is going back to when when he cut off the Gorgon's head, Typhon came out and Pegasus flew out of the neck. I mean, this is not your average bunch of people standing around at a campfire. So I don't know, 200 bodies. 200 bodies. He didn't say 200 people. So, this may be where Greg is. I mean, where Dan is. I have no idea. But these things should be looked into, because I'm telling you, I understand what happens in the mud fossil process of tissues. And I believe it's all related to the saltwater flood when these things were destroyed on Earth. And the salt waters protected the tissue portions, but invaded the bones, and the bones transitioned because of the dense marrow within them, which it ends up being hydrocarbons, really, is the source rock for the petroleum industry. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. This is, and I know there's no question whatsoever that the Gorgon, the Gorgon creatures in the Colossus of Apennine, absolutely 100% certain. And he's strangling a little, looks like a turkey now. I mean, they call it strangling a dragon. I think it looks like some kind of bird. But the other one, and they did this for fun. Ovid said the gods did this to decorate their gardens. This was said somewhere in the text. I'm sure I read that. Anyway, there's a lot of reading and a lot of things to do. And these creatures that are being talked about here, Jody sent me something today which talks about the Codex of Florentine, which was not understood, and it has 2,000 pictures drawn in there, 2,000 handwritten pages of text about things that relate to this. And she said they were creatures that look similar to the things that Dan found. Now, I don't have these answers, so don't come pointing to me and say, oh, the guy's saying this. I'm just saying what people are sending me and what we're seeing and what is just obvious in front of your face. You don't want to see it, that's turn your face the other way. But this is what I'm up against every day. Not up against, I love it. But I mean, this happens to me every day. I'll show you another one. Here you are, Tyson's meeting up with Scott Wiles. They're both out there going to the coast where Scott's found some fabulous stuff. Tyson's found some amazing stuff. I got 2 boxes of things sitting here that Tyson sent me to look at, you know, their blood and all kinds of different tissue things. He wants to try to understand what he's looking at, to be sure. And I'm being as sure as I can. I don't have the facilities here to do the kind of testing that would certainly should be done. But this, now I'll show you some other stuff. Alright, this is what Dan sent me. Now, that's the head of a guy, and that's his beard, and and I'm seeing mud fossil colors. Now look at this. It's inside of the head of some kind of a giant bird or something. Now, this one here is absolutely amazing. This is a sphinx. It's got paws on both sides. Now, that's the head again. Here he was there. It was dark. See, he's trying to look at it. Now, I understand this though. You see that coloration coming out of his ear? That is blood. That is oozing out of the ear of that creature, whatever it was. Now, that to me is a mud fossil signature. I'm not certain, but I think it is. Whoops, let me go back to that. Where was I? Alright, here, I'll tell you this. You see it coming out of the ear? And he focuses in on it somewhere, and it might be on this one. But it's dark, and he just got there, and he only had a few minutes to do this. And then you can see this is bone. That is some kind of bone. There he's going in on the ear. See this? That is leaking out of there. That is bone. That's some kind of a bone pattern on that guy's head. Alright, let's go to the next one. Now this one, I don't know if we can see anything at all. I forget now. He said the wings, when the wings were shiny. Now, Greg Morrison has collected some samples of literally dragon feathers and skin.
Let's see how it is.
Oh, let's see this. And that also has that shiny look. Here's one here. This is it's this sort of a look, and I think this is what he's talking about here. It's shiny, and it really is. You see it? I think it's the same sort of stuff he's talking about. That's this sort of stuff right here.
Close.
Right,
let's see how it is.
Now here's the wing. You see that? Where do you see this? That's the shoulder. These are the flutes of the wing coming down. Now watch carefully. I think it's this one he shows. Look. Yeah. Let's see if it comes in here. Somewhere it gets a real good. Right there, look. That's a feather. It's a feather. They're all feathers coming out of, and it's their wings wrapped around the guy's shoulder. They're feathers. Now this is laying down. You see, there's the head. It's really straight up, but we're seeing it laying down. Now, I see some red here and there. I see all this moss. I know it's in the woods, but I'm seeing, you know, like the chin here, the red of the chin. And this red here around the wrist. Now that is an absolute tip-off to me. Hold on. As it comes out. Whoops. Nicely done, Roger. Hold on. Let's find where that was, somewhere up in here. Let me see if he's got it. As it comes out, you see how it's wrapped around himself? That's your shoulder, wrapped right around. You see it? Wrapped right around. Now at the end, I think he comes down the side, and you can see the wrist where it's got paws. I believe there's paws. Can't see it on this one. All right, let's go to the next one. You see there's paws, and I think this is a different one. He's got a bunch of them here. There's another one. There's another guy's face. That wasn't the other guy's face. And that's inside of some creature's beak too, I think. That's another one right there. He said there was a lot of them, and there it is right there. There's one standing up. This thing here, that's a sphinx. These are the paws, and it runs all the way down the back. Now, I don't know what it's on top of, but it's a sphinx creature, and this is the head. That's the size of the head. And here's the wings. Now, that's perfect. It's wrapped right around here. Those are the wings. That's the creature's head, and that head is big. That's a huge head. I mean, it's not gigantic, but it's a lot bigger than a human head. Now, this, I believe, is the area where he said it was shiny. And this will get shiny. This gets very shiny when it gets wet. It gets like almost effervescent. I don't know what you call it there. Now, there it is. There's the wings wrapped right around. He's like holding himself, wrapped around with a cape of wings. And Jody said some of these, they had capes of feathers in this Florentine Codex. And has 2,000 pictures. I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. There's that Sphinx. There it is. There's the Sphinx. There's the paws coming down. There's the head. And he's sitting on the thing's back. Now this is one of these. That's the Gigante Della Marie, I believe. Well, it is. Now I don't know if they call it that. They're saying Marie La Spiria Villa. Anyway. That was a creature that was alive. Now, I've looked at it, absolutely no question, because of the anatomy and the chemistry and the tendons and the red blood, and all the things are there. And the same thing with the rest of them. And so this is not outside the realm of possibilities that somebody gorgonified these things. That's all I can say, because you have to let your mind roam into the realm of what you're actually seeing. Now it's running a little bit long, but this is Kim's Naga head. I spent a lot of time with her on this, and this is 100% absolutely certain it's real. When these things dry out, they look like they're carved. When they're wet, they come back to life. All right? And trust me, I know this thing 100%. I work with her, and it has all, you know, the blood is coming out of the back, the head is cracked, it has these flutes, it has that. I believe it's a Naga. We looked around, figured what we could get. It's got all of the Mudfossil stuff here. It is what it is. Now, that crack down there, they can't put these things in here. They cannot change the way the eye tissue works and the lips and all of that business and these fine crevices that you have on your skin as well. Not possible to be done. You see that? Nobody, and that's only happens when they get wet. That's why I say you have to look at these things wet. Otherwise, they just look like dirt. That as an actual eye, if you see this whole area here, they change according to what conditions they're in. Now, you see this how dry looking this is? That's just and that's how she got it dry like this. Now, fortunately, she showed it to me, and it had been outside. Otherwise, I would have said, oh, that looks like somebody molded it. Well, once you take it and you look at it in its magnificence, it is no question of what it is. I know how to look at these things, and I have the microscopes to look at. But once you get it wet, you see the lip skin takes on its effect, the eyelids, the cracks, the crevices that are in the places where your skin flexes, is absolutely no question. Then we went through the neck and all underneath the neck, and it went on and on and on. Here we go into the neck business. We spent some time, but this is what we think it ended up being. We think it might be this Naga. Kim, I think, found this. It's a white Naga, and I think it's just snapped right off here. The hair is gone, but it's got that hood. This is underneath the neck. This area here, that's the front lip area. That's the neck. This is where the tongue came up. That's the tongue. That's the tongue. Comes out of this. I'm telling you, this is the neck and the spine and all that business. That the vein and arteries in here. It's right. There's your vein and your artery coming right up into your neck. I get this stuff every day, and the people have this stuff never going to be seen. Nobody's ever going to pay any attention to this unless somebody brings it forward like me. And I have been scuttled for years and years. You see, you have to know what you're looking for. But anyway, trust me. Now let me show you another one. You think that was something? Let me show you something else. There's another one. These are what we call no toes. They have toes. This one, they're completely gone, like they fell out of the sockets here. But normally that would be completely covered with tissue. And there's toes, but they're not visible. So she saw one of my videos. She said, well, let me go out and look in the woods. And her husband went out. 15 minutes later, she finds this. So she sends me, some stuff, and we start looking into it. Now, she found this, and I said, what the hell is that? So I'm studying it, and she found more stuff, and more, and more, and more. And I ended up understanding this stuff after a while. Now, here's what it is. These springs are inside the no toes. All right, there's actually wrapped around springs. That's what it is. They were constructed. Somebody constructed these. Now, let me see if I can find. All right, these are some of the ones she found. That's the no toe like this, and up. That's like a wing nut. I'm telling you, somebody constructed these things. That to me looks like a wing nut holding what would have been the pad underneath up in there, because they have these huge pads underneath. This is an eroded no toe. That normally would have been covered up. I'll show you the ones I have. I have some here that are in pristine shape. Now, this one, all right, this is the one I have here. Confused? Yep. Now, that's the shoe, and I thought it was a shoe. I really did. And I was going to cut it open, and I got Tish Egerton got a hold of me, and she had found those other no-toes. Now, so I found this long ago, and this is just like a flip-flop. You look at how a flip-flop fits on you, and this is where the blood runs down. Anytime you see this white, this yellowish looking with the brown, that's where blood has leaked away, and actually it must be the acidness of the blood or something eats into the tissue of the skin, and you get these white look. See, that's from blood. This is from blood, where it breaks out of the bone. That's leaked where blood leaked. Now, so what is this? That's the way you normally get a no-toe, just like this. Well, not normal. This is really no normal to them. There's all kinds of different no-toes. It was a transition phase, I believe, as they were constructing humans. Now, this little slip right here always breaks like that. That's the fibia. You got the tibia, the big bone that comes straight up in your body, and then you got one that hangs off the side, which has nothing to hang to except the big bone. And when the big bone goes, the little bone goes. You end up with the foot. And here's what it looks like over here. All right, and this is from underneath, but also already a pad. This pad is missing. They look like it's like walking on balloons. Unbelievable. This would be under here just like this. Now, that's that one. Let's see what we got here. All right, these are ones that came in to me from around the world, really. This was in Australia. That's a no-toe. That's another no-toe. This was one out in California where the toes, you can see they're underneath. They're missing out of here. This is the one from Tish. That is, as far as I'm concerned, that is a wing nut. Let's put them on a new pad. Now, and these are modular. Somebody built them. I don't care what anybody says to me. Somebody constructed these. And here's why I can say that. This is what Tish found. She found a whole batch of these things like this. And I said, what are those? I looked and looked and looked, and I ended up with this. You see this ball on the end here, and you see that strap coming straight up here. You see that stirrup? Well, that's the ball. Right there. That's the strap. And right up here is the stirrup where the bone lays down that you are standing on your foot with. The bone would have come straight up here. The other was the fibia, which falls off. Now, what are we looking at here? What is this? It's nothing like your foot. You have bones sticking out like this, and tendons are running all through them that make them move. Well, this has no tendons. These are the tendons. And how does that work, Roger? Well, glad you asked. As the toes come down, which are coming from here, encased, the whole thing rocks back this way. That engages this spring up, which loads it to try to return. It wants to return. As it loads up, it actually pulls this spring and loads this spring. So you have a hinge effect. This comes up, then it hinges here, and it comes up again. You have a fluidity of movement. When it comes back down, it just lays back down in two separate conditions. All of this area here, I found, there's wires running through here. And there's bumpers, and there's detents, and there's different types of material in there. It is a construction effort. Now here's another no-toe. This one this is not the toes. This is the underneath of the toes. The toes are up here, and I don't know, they're breaking off, I think. But they come in all different sizes. There's like a zillion of them. Here's one. These are toes that are opalized. Those that gotten opalized. Anything can become opal. It has to have cells to become opal. This is the bottom of a no-toe. That's the heel of the no-toe. Right there, that's the calcaneal tendon ball, or calcaneus, or whatever they call it. This is gummite. You see this? This little flappy stuff. That's, I believe they call that gummite, and it's got all of that. It's just like having rubber pads on the bottom of your feet. It's absolutely phenomenal. Somebody built these things. Now this is that's that one that the toes are eroded underneath, but that was another one of the no toes. What do we got? I think I got all these. Yeah, these are just single copies of the other ones, but heel with a tendon. This just shows it by itself. Oh, I guess that's it for that. Alright, people always ask me all the time, where's uranium come from? I said, I don't know. But I can tell you what, this right here is a toe from a no-toe. Remember I was talking about gumite? This is the gumite layer that has all those little tiny holes. You just saw it has a yellowish looking stuff against another part of the foot, which is black is what happens with your bloody tissues. They turn black. And then the skin and so forth, you get a rind around with you like this. And in no toes specifically, you get this big flat fluffy pad. Well, guess what this is? Uranium. Now why would a toe be made out of uranium? Now this is also uranite, pitch blend. All right. So what do we got going? Why is it uranium? Why are these people made out of uranium? That thing right there, that's what's in the hearts. That exact same structure, that is uranium. And in the banding of hearts. Here's uranite. This is uranite with gold running through it. That's veins, arteries. This is the gumite, you know, that same material that's on these no-toe feet. Now, they may have been running on uranium. That's a uranium toe. That's, I understand what they are, and that's a toe. Could be a thumb. There's another toe. That's uranium. Uranium. I'm telling you. All right. And I know this is a toe. Or, you know, again, it could be a thumb. Thumbs and toes, pretty hard to tell. If you can see the callus, then you're good. Another, this is more uranium. Huh? See that? That's uranium too. That's blood and that's red and black blood. Uranium ore, look at that. Isn't that something? It's gorgeous. I believe it's a heart. When you see them close up like this, and then you see a lot of transition metal activity in it, usually that's a heart. When black and red together is in the veins of the, in the valves of the heart. You have your vein blood and your arterial blood. So this is unlikely that this came from any other place. And we know about the opal heart. Well, I'll show you. Oh, before I show you the opal heart, this just, well, not just came in, I don't know, it's probably a year or so ago. Tish found this. And the other stuff got to go back a couple of years now. This is a foot, a leg that was engineered by somebody. There's not a human being in the world can tell me that they understand this other than the fact that these are somebody, that's a pin. These are pivots. This is a bloody investment. This is like a plate that goes across there. This is where that spring assembly bolts in. There was a pad underneath here. It's a modular system. That's what it is. They spoke of these things. And I'm finding that not a word that was spoken was in jest. Now I want to read you this. This is theozoology. Theozoology, or the science of the sodomite applings and the divine electron. Isn't this bizarre? An introduction to the most ancient and most modern philosophy and a justification of the monarchy and the nobility with 45 illustrations by George Lanz von Liebenfels. Now, what is this about? the science of this, with 45 illustrations. These are the abbreviations. Now, listen to this. It never ends. This is from 1903. It starts out with, God is love devoid of the ape nature. If we preserve this love among our kind, then God will remain in us. That was in John 4:8-12. Now, listen to now. Arc the beginning. The truth which I am submitting, chiefly to my close and dear friends, is a historically well-established fact, which humanity has intentionally forgotten. Until now, its revelation has been prevented by all sorts of tortures and persecutions. It is the truth which that once one taught, about whom it is said that he is set for the fall and rising again of many. In other words, this truth is going to make people rise and fall. And that my rediscoveries will be the fall of many, I am firmly convinced. Therefore, I am preparing myself for the most furious attacks, and I only welcome them. But besides my friends, there are certainly many other people this book could lead to a resurrection, to whom it will say and confirm nothing new, but rather it will express that already long-held ideas. If this book is not scientific enough for the reader, I direct him to my exhaustive treatment, Anthropozoan Bibliacum Veritascaropa Fur Biblicunda, Berlin Cavalry. However daring what I am presenting may sound, it is nevertheless formulated from thoroughly reliable historical sources according to strictly scientific methods, and it will be confirmed in the most astounding way by the latest discoveries of the natural sciences and the ancient finds of art historians. The scientific treatises of the ancients are written in a secret language and contain absolutely no absurdities or fables. Based upon the artistic products of the ancients, we have no reason to consider them as less intelligent than modern man. The ancient geographer Strabo says in circa 474, every inquiry concerning the gods explores the old notions and fables, which, while the ancients concealed their natural ideas which they preserved in these events in parables, always mixed their inquiries with the fables. Thus also Pythagoras, as well as Plato and Jesus, had two types of teachings and two types of students. And that is very well articulated in Pista Sophia and the Gnostic text. So, I suppose it's gone very long, and it gets very circuitous, and it is very, very, very deep. And it is, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going with it. I can't see any reason to discount these things that are being said, that were said in the past by men that really paid attention to what they really were looking at when they saw what they were really looking at these things. These are the people I'm interested in talking to. These are the people that I'm interested in hearing their ideas. So far, that just doesn't happen. So, I think it's time to listen and just pay attention. If it's not right, it's not right. But if it's right, well, it has to take, things change. It's just the way nature is. But if you turn your eyes and you walk away because of an opinion that overrides DNA and CAT scans, and I want to say something else about the CAT scans. Jesse Garant and Associates, absolutely fabulous technicians, equipment, service, reliability, and interest in science. All right? Because I don't care what you do in life. If you don't have an interest in what you do, you might as well not even bother doing it. And Jesse Garant and his associates, in their absolutely fabulous facilities did 7 CAT scans for me. And he didn't charge me a penny. All I had to do was get the stuff there and get it back. And they're not cheap. You don't run that kind of stuff on a shoestring, my friend. And I will never, ever forget this, because every bit of information is crucial. And I stand on a foundation now that cannot be moved. And Jesse was part of that, and I thank you, Jesse.